So in the last class, kudos ante okay, hats up. Okay. Next, we've been discussing on how do we consume HANA models in BW. The one option we referred it was on transient provider, okay, and the next option we were referring it as what? Virtual queue. In case of transient provider, we can only consume analytical view or calculation view. Even for virtual cube, it is analytical view or calculation view. Then there's one more option, virtual master database, where attribute view can be consumed. By using virtual master data, we can consume attribute views. So let's see how do we do this. So I'm going to have an attribute view and we'll consume that in the BW with virtual master database. I'll create those info objects along with the attributes. See, I've got an attribute view here, which is just built on some table, and I have this output, which is basically on the contract number, start date, end date, contract type, and customer and product number. I just have some attributes. Okay. So in the top, in BW, I'm going to create my info objects here. Just taking something and I'm creating info objects with template. So what happens when you create with template? All the attributes are. I don't want to create all those attributes again. So, oh, this was key for catalog. Sorry. So I got this characteristic 10, and then I also have attributes start date, end date, contract type, customer, and product. All my info objects are ready, and I just activate this. Okay. Now, as it is, I don't want to load any master data for this, but I want this master data object to be referring the data from attribute view, the backend. So what you do is just get to the master data text tab here. Voice is breaking. Yeah, now it's fine. So you go to master data text tab, just go down here. I can say normally it will be like default like this. Okay. Now master data read access, just drop down this option, set it as what? I would like to read up by what? SAP HANA. Then ask me which package is it? Which is my transport TP views. And then from this, which one? ZAV contract. Okay, and say add. Okay. So now we said I want this info bit to be referring virtually from this attribute view. But did I say which field is versus which info bit? To do this, I'll say what is this? Maintain HANA assignments, and this is my info bit. For this, the corresponding field is what? Contract number. For start date, corresponding field in this is what? Start date. For end date, it will be end date. For contract type, I would like to have which one? C type. For customer, it is CNO. For product, it is PN. Okay. I specified which view it is, and then I specified the mapping of info bit versus a field, and just activate it. That's it. but actually you cannot right click and you cannot see this because it is virtual. But if you really want to see the data, what you can do is, I would like to do reporting on this. Can we do reporting on the master data object? I can insert that characteristic as what? Info provider, and then I can start creating a BEX query on top of it. And we can check whether that doesn't show you the data or not. I can say create new BEX query and keep at contract, and then I just want to bring all this. By default, we'll have a key value as number of records. That's fine. And when I go to RSRT, and this in fact starts showing me date of what? Contract, short, all this. Now look at this. Is it the same data you get to see it here? Customer number, all this. It is actually reading the data from HANA view. So like this, we can also go with what? Virtual mask data also. Okay, was yeah. Next option.
Sir, we created all display attributes. Can I have a navigation attribute?
Yeah, you can make this as a navigation attribute. Only thing is, you'll see that effect when you're using it in some provider.
Can we use it in our info cube and
yeah.
navigation?
You just want to have a doubt whether can I make this as a navigation attribute, right? If you can switch it on, you can enable it in any provider you want, right? If I go to this, says I want contract type, I can just say text for care, and then you just, even in any info cube you're using it, you just have to switch on this option. Okay, was yeah. So once I get to do this, if you're using this characteristic into the key, we just have to enable this navigation attribute. Okay, boss? Yeah. Next option, there is some concept. I just want to get into that, and then we have a new provider called Open ODS View, because this concept is something relevant to this concept. So I want to finish it up this year. Open ODS View. This is a new provider. This is a new provider from BW 7.4 SP5. Open ODS View. Can we create compound attribute? Yeah, you can do anything. But only thing is, you say, can I have compounding attribute? Yes, only thing is, but in attribute B, you should have two fields as key fields. Then we can. So even by using OpenODS view, I can consume underlying views in BW, but this is much more than that. Okay. So this is new from what? 7.4 SP5, that is one. Okay. And it is virtual object. When I say virtual object enable, I say virtual provider. When I say virtual provider, what does it mean? There is no data physically stored, and when I say provider, what does it mean? I can do reporting on top of this also. Okay. And no info objects required. It means it is nothing but it is based on field-based modeling. In OpenODS view, we go with field. When I say field-based modeling, let's say I say I create OpenODS view based on, if I create my OpenODS view based on data source. Data source will have transfer structure, will it have fields? By using those fields, I can model OpenODS view. I don't need info objects explicitly. Okay. There's some more complex. We'll touch on that later. But first now, so I can create OpenODS view on by using DB table. So we can create OpenODS view either by using any of this. We can go with database table, okay, or view. When I say view, it could be database view or even column view. One is I can create my OpenODS view based on database table or based on view. When I say view, it could be referred as database view or column view. Next is based on data source. We can also create OpenODS view based on data source. Based on advanced DSO. We can also create OpenODS view based on advanced DSO and based on transformations also. By using either of this, I can create my OpenODS view. Okay, boss. Now, okay, and we can create OpenODS view in normal BW screen here in the SAP UI or in the HANA Studio modeling tools also. You'll have what? BW modeling tools also can be leveraged for this, or we can also create from the SAP UI. SAP GUI also can be created anyway. Okay, but I would. It is more comfortable creating it from modeling tools. Okay, I'll do it from here. So generally work on modeler or HANA development, right? Now I'm getting into what? Other perspective called BW modeling. If I don't find it here, you know this. We choose from perspective BW modeling tools and you get into this. So when you want to work on BW specific modeling relevant to HANA specific, then I can use this BW modeling tools. Okay. You get into this BW modeling tools and you'll have to create a project. Now drop in what project is it? If it is HANA native development, you create access project. If it is BW modeling, you create BW project. If it is ABAP perspective, you create ABAP project. Say BW project, it will ask you the connection details. I can say browse through. You see the connections, what is there specified in your logon pad. This is a system I want to connect in. Say next, then specify the client and login details. And say next. And there's a name of the project. I can just give me any project. Cubic 7 project something. BW. Underscore. And say next. And there's another option called what? Attach HANA system. I'll tell you importance of this later, but for now I'll say yes. I'll say what? Attach HANA system. It just pops up the system which is already logged in the modeler. So I'm connecting to SP9, which is a system user, and say okay. So this is my project. And when I expand this project, I start seeing what is menu here, info products, which are nothing but you find all your info areas here. Do you remember info area Cubic 7, which you get to see all the info areas? And when you right click on the info area, you get to see like you can create new advanced DSO, composite provider, and open ODS. Okay, boss. I just want to have one more info area here. Cubic 7, new area, Z open ODS 7 something. So I would create under this one. If I just get into this, I say refresh. So do I see that info area demo open ODS view? Under that, I would like to create my open ODS view. It's very simple provider. Only major concept to be understood. It's a virtual provider, and we can do reporting on it. And there is no physically stored, no data is stored physically, and it is based on field-based modeling. Field-based modeling, there is no infobix required to create this. For example, if I'm creating a classical DSO or info cube, what you do? You just create infobix first. Then group those infobix, create a DSO or create a cube. But for OpenODS, I don't need any infobix. Okay, now I'll show you this first. Now when you right click on this and say info area, new, what is it? OpenODS. When I choose, that's okay. The project and info area name. What is the task? Name of this ZQ7 something, some demo, sorry, demo. Is a demo OpenODS view. Then you'll have to define semantics. The what are the OpenODS view creating? Is it representing fact or master data or text? What kind of semantics is it referring? So let's say I'll say fact. Then you want to create this OpenODS view based on what? Now look at this. What is it? Data source of BW data source or what? Database table or view. Okay, sorry, I forgot this. You can also have option of what? Using virtual table or what? Transformations or what? Advanced DS. There's one more option. Virtual table. So by using either of these objects as source, I can build my OpenODS view. Okay, boss? Got this? And then you just basically take it to next screen and you say, let's say some table. I want to go with some table. You remember Cubex 7 BODS? We had some table. I'll choose some table from there. I'll go with Z sales one something. So I said I want this OpenODS view should be based on a database table, and the table is what did it ask me? Schema name, but I never specified. It is automatically creating some source system connection name. I never gave it. I just selected the schema and the table of that schema here. Please, it starts giving me all the fields of the table. Okay. Suppose after you choose a source, if you want to change, I can click this edit to change the source. Let's say I want to change the source to different thing, I can do this here. And there's a technical lab description. Then in the facts tab, you can start defining all the semantics. So this will show me all the fields of the table. You choose a table called Z sales one. These are the different fields of the table. Then you can define semantics. So I said VBLN is my key, and dear dat, and these are my currency. This is WR key is what? It's currency field. These are other characteristics, and NW is what? Currency field. For NWR, I would like to have the referencing saying yes. You can specify some properties here. Yes. What is the currency field? I said WR key is a currency field. I can reference this to NWR. That's it. And then say what? This is creating OpenNode. This is about creating OpenNode. So did I do any info picks? That was because year data was a time characteristic field, so that was now it is activated. Just refresh. I see this OpenODS view here. ಏನು ಕಾಲಿದೆ? I'll solve that. I'll take care of it. But did you understand this process? This is about creating OpenODS. General. You just take some source object and based on the source of it, you get the fields and you start categorizing. You specify the metadata, whether it is characteristic or a key figure or unit or what it is. You just categorize it and start activating it. Ante. And this will start giving you data. Then problem. What is this problem? You cannot create calculation. Activate outam. Then again there is a problem. 1 second. Sir, activate aitundi and choose. Kale. I can activate from here also. User is okay. Look at this problem. User is not auth. It's you get this problem. What is it saying? User is not authorized under this. I told you. You are logging into BWS which user was Cubex user. But any activity you do in BW which is relevant to HANA is handled by which user? Because BW is connected to HANA through which user? SAP ABAP. So you're trying to read data from a table called what? Z sales one of which schema? Cubex 7 BODS. So SAP ABAP one user should have access to that schema. So what I'll do? I'll go to modeler. I'll go to the security users. SAP ABAP one. I'll add which schema is it? Cubex 7 BODS. And I'll give him what? Select authorizations. Okay, done. I can activate from here itself. Okay. That's been activated. And I can also link this currency fields like this. And then activate it. That's it. So did I do any loading now? This is OpenODSV. If I right click and say display data, it's virtual object. When I'm seeing data, doesn't mean that there's physically holds in, but that's a virtual object. Can I do reporting on top of this? Can I create BIX query? Normal, you can get to see, do all your variables and all the stuff can be done in the BIX. That's it. This is all data coming from the underlying table in HANA. Like this, I can create OpenODSV on table. But I will go in detail, but did you understand? Did we do any data loading? Was no. So it is what? Virtual object. And did we create any infobix for this? No. I was able to use the metadata, all the fields definition of the source object and created my OpenODSV. We just created the metadata bus. That's it. Saying which is a characteristic, which is a key figure, and activate it. It's very simple. Okay, boss. Yeah. There's no delta nothing. We're not loading, so there's no concept of delta nothing. It's straight away reading the data virtually from the source object and giving it. It is virtual. If you're loading, then the delta concept come in, but I'm not loading it. Just a virtual object reading it from the source object what is specified. That's yeah.
For SLT, you can use it, right?
In the sense, SLT, what?
Real-time data too.
No problem. Use it. You're saying, let's say I have a table which has been replicated from SLT, and I'll create an OpenODSV on top of this table, and virtually you're doing it. Yes, okay, I can use it, no problem. And then next option here. Now look at this. Now, can I also create OpenODSV? What about the source? As I'll come to each one of them. Don't worry. Next, can I also create open? But did you understand basic flow how the OpenODSV is created? That's it. Very simple. We can also create OpenODSV by using what? View. View could be database view or column view also. Database view or column view also. So what I do is go to modeler, filter, cubic 7, BODS something. I have some tables, BW open hub. This has got data, right? Z sales one. Okay. I'll create my data. What is this? If you know how to create database view, in this I'm right clicking and say what? New view. Demo open. I just want this view only with single table. Can we get view on single table also? If it is multiple, I can join. You know all those. We learned already about how to create a view. Select and just select. That's okay. Nothing else I want. Activate. So my view is created. Now that I already have this database view. I can see the content here, and I would like to use this database view and create my OpenODS views. ZQ7 view. Database view facts. This time what? What will I select? Again, table or view. Your view was in which schema? QXM BODs. And what was your view? Demo OPN. Okay, that's it, finished. This is an example where I'm showing you that it's being built on what? I'm just giving the reference to this keyword. Reference characteristic is WR active. This is about creating OpenODS view on database view. There is some problem. The refresh but it is activated. If you go to RS7, see it is active. Okay, I can see the data for this. If it's not active, it will not show me there. That's it. Again, I can do reporting. I can also create my OpenODS view by using database views. One point you should remember here is when you creating this when you're creating your OpenODS view based on database table or view, if you see this, you only select what? Schema, then you select the what? Database object name, right? Or table or view, whatever it is. And is it creating the source system connection automatically? What connection is it? That's the point. Means from BW, you're trying to consume some database object of HANA, of some schema in HANA bus. So it automatically creates a source system connection, which is nothing but DB connector. Student, if I go to BW, it automatically creates a either if I see it automatically creates a database connections. Cubic 7 BODSO. When you refer to some table or view of some schema, it automatically creates that source system connection. Assuming as if your BW is trying to connect to some database, it creates a database connection for you automatically. Display. So, you can see it connects to that connection parameters. It says connecting to which schema here, so and so. Our connection automatically creates this.
So for every forwarder,
for every schema, it creates a connection automatically. The schema we give in the OpenODS creation, is it the schema where source table exists? Yes, exactly. Say you're creating OpenODS view on some table, and the table will belong to some schema. That is the schema I specify. I'm saying create OpenODS view on a table of so and so of this schema. And the database object is always referred by schema. Okay. Next option, can I also create OpenODS view based on column view also? Can I create OpenODS view based on column view also? Yes. Now actual point comes in. Now, do we know this point that every time I create my view, this is, let's say this is my view. What is this? Q7 ZCV sale. What is it? It's a calculation view. Do we know this point? Every time you create a calculation view or analytical view or attribute view, does it create a column views in this big schema? Yes. Yeah. Now let's see this content, and these are the columns. Okay. Doc number and so on. So now what I would do is, if I go to sys big schema, Q7 and bitness, so I see this is the one transport TP views slash so and so. Is a column? Yes or no? Calculation column view. Yes. I copy this name. Okay, boss. Now I'll go to OpenODS view. Now, can you create OpenODS view based on column view? Yes. Now, when I actually deployed my analytical view or calculation view or attribute view, do they deploy column view since this big schema? So when I access that column view and create my OpenODS view, indirectly am I consuming that view? So can this be one way of consuming HANA views in BW layer? Yeah. A new OpenODS view. What is it? ZQ7 HANA model demo consume HANA model via via column view in this big scheme. So what did I say? Fact. Now what do I say now? I still choose a source type as what? Table or view. And the view is in which schema for you? The column view what you're referring is in which schema? Underscore sys. Underscore sys. And it is automatic solution to create this. If it is not, if you're using it first time, it creates one. If it is already used, it recreates the same. Already I used once or something, let's say, then see what is the connection? Sys VIC01. They వాడతాను. ఒకవేళ కొత్త పేరు ఇస్తే కొత్తది క్రియేట్ అయింది. You can change the name if you want. ఈ కాలమ్ వ్యూస్ ప్రాబ్లం ఏమంటే ఇట్ డస్ నాట్ షో యూ వాల్యూ హెల్ప్. ఇప్పుడు Q7 యువర్ ట్రాన్స్ TRANS ఇట్లా రాదు. You don't get that help. So straight away the name what you copied, you give this directly here. A column views quota search రాదు. Straight away paste the name of it and say finish. And then now it starts showing me all the columns. There are doc number, all this stuff. Yeah, I'll place the doc number as key and others are characteristics, and this unit as what? This is not current. This is what unit field, and this has to be referencing to what? Quantity. I'll set this unit, and then done. And say activate. This is about creating OpenODS. Now can I do reporting on top of this? So can this be one way of consuming HANA models in BW? Where is this showing data from? HANA view. Underline HANA view ke output emundo ade output virtual. Okay, no, done.
The data HANA lo undo sir. SID is on create this.
Empa
SID is on create.
HANA lo undo. HANA lo read cheskuntaru run time lo. Even for virtual queue you get like that, right?
No loading times.
It's not at runtime, it is generating it for you. Don't have to worry. Okay. So this one way of consuming HANA is a concept. Next, column is always we need to select calculation view in HANA. Now, see, while creating OpenODS view, do we specify semantics whether it is facts or master database? When you specify facts, you can choose column view of analytical view or calculation. Does make sense. When you create a when you create an open ODSV with semantics as master data attribute, then it makes sense to select a column view of what? Attribute. Logical attribute view is for master data. Analytical view or calculation is for transaction. That's how the logic should. Okay. But doesn't mean there could be a special case where I create open ODSV of master data based on calculation. Because if I say I create a calculation with data category as dimension, can I still use that for master data also? Yes. Yes, no problem. Okay. Another way of doing it was okay. So can I also create open ODSU based on data source also? Actually, this was the main point I wanted to focus. The consuming HANA model in BW through by using that column view. There's one more option also. Now, can I also create my open ODSU by using data source also? Right? But only thing is, only the data sources which support direct access. What do you mean by direct access? You remember direct access? Direct access for DTP, Gurtundubus, which are enabled for remote access. Only the data source which supports direct access or nothing but remote capability enability can be connected to OpenODS. It could be flat file or it could be DB connect, it could be SAP or whatever it is. Yeah. So I'll take normal ECC connection. That's fine. This problem okay. There is a connection established already now. So I've got ECC and ECC is connected to my PW already. Okay. So let me log into ECC. Normal data source. I'm just dealing with normal data source. RSO2 Z open remote. Let's say SD and then some. I go with Z sales. I'm not enabled in Delta because I'm not loading. Okay. But here direct access property says what? One indicates what here? Supported without pre-aggregation. Okay. So supported means what? It is supported for direct access. Now just say save it. Now data source is built. Now I'll go to RSDS will replicate the data source. If data source replicated, then what I'll do? And I'll have to what? Activate this. But before I activate, I'll make sure this property is set as what? For our ECC, by generic extractor, but if you look at LO extractors, those will not be enabled for direct access. Activate. And automatically this will have the transfer structure fields, VBLN and EAD and all those stuff. So I have a data source which supports what? Direct access as allowed, and then I've got the field set. Now I would like to use this data source and build my open node. I don't want to load. I want a virtual provider accessing this particular data source. I can open ODS view. ZQ7 REMDS demo remote enabled data source. I'll say what fact. Now what is it this time? Data source which is in BW. What is the data source name? Y remote. These are which connection? ECW. So this is the data source and this is my source system connection. Because data source name is always component by your And this will start showing me all the fields of the data source. Did I create infobix here or no? And I can just already referencing is also, why referencing is also done? Because data source lo link ఉంటుంది already. It says WRK is referencing to what? Init. That's because of the link given in open notice it is already proposed. That's it. I just have to what? Activate. It is activated. Now what are the data you get from the table? You start seeing that here. This is about creating open notice view on the data source. And then generally when you create a remote enabled data source, you connect that to remote queue. Instead of going with SAP remote direct access DTP queue, I can also go with OpenODS view. Okay. And that could be even flat file data source also. So suppose if it is flat file, say I have some flat file data. So I have some flat file data source. What does this say? Only even though it is flat file, but make sure this is set as what? Allowed. Review data okay. Allowed. A file lock but that's okay. This will start reading it from the file. So if any data source where it says direct access allowed, I can connect this data source also to my OpenODS view. The file block in there. At least let me check this. There's a flat file data source, okay, allowed. There is a direct access allowed. You can change this if you want allowed or not allowed, you can choose, okay. But make sure the flat file data source set as remotely allowed. Then let me start building a data source. I'll connect this to my OpenODS view again. What is the source to connection? YPC file. Even flat file also I can connect this. But the only thing is the data source should be enabled for direct access. That's it. ZQ7 REMFF. Data source, and this is my data source. Which connection? YPC flat file. Okay, done. Just get in and then start. I'll say order number is my key. Rest all is okay, and then currency field I've got unit field. For amount I want currency and then quantity linked already. Because in the traverse structure itself we'll have the referencing characteristic linked up. That's it. This is ready. Now if I go to my RSA1 again, if I go to favorites, my Q7 OpenODS view, flat file data source. Now when I'm trying to see data from this data source, it is actually reading data from where? From your flat file and then showing you data. And see, it is reading from flat. That's why I'm saying what allow. It could be even DB connect data source or any data source for which direct access is enabled. I can connect that to my OpenODS view. Okay, Nana, done. That is one. Within the same concept, I would like to show you one more. Now here, these are my, you know about this SAP connection, flat file connection, DB, all this. There's one connection here, ODP HANA information views. ODP, by using this ODP HANA information views, I can extract data from HANA information views of any SAP application which is running on HANA. So if you, for clarity, look at this. Let's say, look at this situation. When can I use this? Imagine this is your BW and this is HANA, and this is your ECC and this is HANA. I've got BW with HANA and ECC is also with HANA bus. Okay. Now the situation scenario is in ECC HANA, I have a calculation view ZCV something like 001, which is created. I would like to consume this calculation view and load into BW bus. I give you two options. I would like to consume this calculation view in BW. Do you prefer loading, extracting data from this view and loading to BW, or virtually consume this view? Which one do you prefer? In your source database also HANA, performance is fine, and when if I load, doesn't make sense for delta mechanism. So it makes sense for what? Accessing it virtually. Okay, so when you want to connect SAP applications and consume HANA information views, we use this soliciting connection. ODP SAP HANA information view ne vaadtam. When you want to connect any SAP application to BW which is running on HANA and consume HANA views of that HANA database, then I go with what? ODP SAP HANA information views. Okay, Nana, you getting this? See, the source system is based on ABAP layer, application wise. But using that source system connection, I can consume HANA views of the source system. Did you understand this? Very, very important. This makes sense. If not BW HANA undi, all ECC is also with HANA. Then I want to consume HANA live, which is in ECC HANA. Virtually, then I can use these data sources. ODP HANA information views. Now, scenario in that, you understood this concept. This is how it works. Okay, but my intent, my requirement is what? I have a view in. I have my but in the scenario in the. I don't have this part now. Okay, I only have BW system with HANA database, and I have a view. What I want to do is can I do this way? Bomb material artangal, but I mean to say same. At other BW, other than can loop back. If you know what I'm saying, I'll connect the BW application to same BW application so that the HANA information views of that HANA BW database can be consumed as a data source. Generally, the various system will consume it, but for intern, if my requirement is to consume the HANA view of the same BW underlying HANA database, I'll connect the same BW to same BW as a myself source system connection and create ODP data source based on that view and attach this data source to OpenODC based on data source. Okay, so I'm doing this. Where all I'm just creating a new connection now. Okay, right click and so what? Create ODP HANA information views. Q7 H views. ODP myself. That's same in ECC column. You will say what? ODP ECC connect. You will connect to ECC details. ODP myself connection. HANA models. So it takes me to RFC connection. Now I'll give RFC connection details assuming what is my target. This scenario BWA is because I'm trying to connect to same BW itself. The same thing if you're connecting to ECC, then if you want to extract the HANA views of ECC, then we'll give all RFC connection details for what? ECC. Since I'm connected to myself BW, I can give BW details itself. And then the 74 SP8 and then system number is what? 10. What does this say? HANA information what? HANA information views. Yeah. So by using this connection, I can consume. See, by using this connection, I've connected an SAP application. If that SAP application is based on HANA, and all the views of that HANA system can be consumed as ODP data source. But what did I connect? I have connected my say myself BW. So the HANA views of my BW data HANA database can be consumed as ODP data source. Okay. Now I want to take this one. You remember I have the view in which package? The TP same Q7ZCV sales order. I want to consume this calculation view. And then BW లో ఉన్న calculation view consume చేస్తున్నాను. అదే same ECC connecting. If you given RFC details of ECC and if I have ECC on HANA, I can consume that view. నాకు ECC on HANA లేదు అందుకు. Okay. But then Q7, right click and say what? Display data source tree, right click and say what? I'll say create data source. Now from here, I'd say I'll create this data source by using the HANA information view as ODP object. Now just say, sir, just click on this. ఏది ప్యాకేజ్ చెప్పండి అన్ని ప్యాకేజ్ చూపిస్తుందా సేమ్ ఇదే ఈసీసీ హనాలో ఉన్న ప్యాకేజ్ చూపిస్తున్నాను ఇఫ్ యూ గివ్ ఆర్ఎఫ్సి డీటెయిల్స్ టువర్డ్స్ ఈసీసీ విల్ స్టార్ట్ షోయింగ్ మీ ఆల్ ద ప్యాకేజెస్ ఆఫ్ ఈసీసీ అండ్ దెన్ యూ కెన్ చూస్ ద వ్యూ వాట్ యూ వాంట్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ టీపీ ఇదన్నా ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ టీపీ వ్యూస్ లో మంది ఏందన్నా Q7 సేల్స్ ఆర్డర్స్ యూ కెన్ గివ్ ఎనీ డేటా సోర్స్ ఇది ఓడిపి వ్యూ ఆ వ్యూ బేస్ మీద ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ క్రియేటింగ్ మై డేటా సోర్స్ ఏది YDS calculation view something Q7 ఇది నా data source okay does it direct access says what allowed proposal okay fields proposed చేస్తుంది if you're not happy with the data we can change it here okay otherwise it's fine I have the fields all the stuff done and say activate ఏం లేదు క్వాంటిటీకే సో డెసిమల్ ఉంటే మనం ఒప్పుకోం క్వాంటిటీకి ఏం పెడతాం యాక్చువల్గా ఇది ఒకసారి ఐ నాట్ సెట్ డెసిమల్ క్యూఏఎన్ క్వాన్ ఉంది మనకి క్వాన్ అండ్ దెన్ ఫర్ యూనిట్ ఐ వుడ్ ప్రిఫర్ వాట్ యూనిట్ సో దట్ ఐ కెన్ లింక్ బోత్ ఆఫ్ దెమ్ సో దిస్ బికమ్స్ క్వాన్ అండ్ దిస్ బికమ్స్ యూనిట్ ఓకే okay boss done now is this data source ready for virtual access can I connect this data source any data source which is enabled for remote direct access I can connect that to direct access DTP cube remote cube or even to what OpenODS view I'll connect to OpenODS view sorry BW modeling right click new OpenODS view ZQ7 DS view ODP HANA model data source what is your data source this one and your data source name was Q7 something isn't it Q7H view that was a source system for ODP connection finish you can start leveraging those fields the key sorry one normal characteristics because if you do in HANA modeling you can do drag and drop otherwise you don't have the flex ఇది కూడా quantity కాదు I want this unit to be measured and maintained as unit and the quantity key I'll say reference is unit and activate and then done created this is one ODP HANA model what it is doing it is reading the view and giving me same way can I consume even the HANA views which are in ECC also okay We'll get back to this. What is the next one? We can also have open ODC based on what? Transformations also. I'm just creating one info source. Q7 IS001 info source. ZACP. Info pixel file activate. Info source, right? Created. Now I'm going with the data source. I'll go with some flat file. Any data source you can take. Flat file. This data source bar correct work. I'll go to my info sources. Right click and say what? Create transformations. What is source to connection? YPC file. Can I create the transformations here? Okay. And you can write any sort of start routine, end routine, export. You can write anything. I'm not writing anything, but you can go about writing any transformations. It's virtual. On fly, you want to do transformations. Possible. I can also write HANA expert routine also. We'll see that later. But you can do all kind of whatever you can do with transformations. I can do all those concepts here. So when I read it virtually, on fly, the data from the data source is read, and then transformations are executed on it. Then it gives you transformed data on fly transformations. I use this now. ZQ7 trans demo transformations. I'll say fact. I'll say this time what? Transformation. Ask me info source and what? Data. So what is my info source? As soon as I give info source, since my info is mapped with only one data source, it maps it. Suppose can info source be mapped with multiple data source also? Yes. I would not know source. You will have to specify. This is my info objects now. Country here. This is fine. Active. So like this, I can also create my open ODC by using what? If I see the content, it reads data from the data source, transforms the data as per the transformation. If you return some routines, it does and gives you the transformed data. Now, call center to check this, you can just put some constant and then check it. So whether it is mapping or not. Selection for output. DDP mouse don't need it రావాలేదు it's అది వస్తుంది it is bringing in but check in DS data no but you'll get this out that's fine okay but so what will happen what are the transformations you spell it does perform these transformations on fly and then get it for you okay like this you can also have open ODSP on transformation also then what I can also go with what virtual tables virtual table is straightforward You already have virtual table built in this table schema, remember? So let's say by using smart data access, let's say by using smart data access, you have created a virtual table. Then, for example, open content. By using smart data access, you create a virtual table, and by using this virtual table, I can create my open ODS. So virtual table, PHP. Remote source EHP remote. ఇది ఎక్కువ టైం పడుతుంది అందుకు సెలెక్ట్ చేయాలి. Because when I select remote source, it tries to fill this database and stuff. So the time is. Agent ఆఫ్లో ఉందేమో. Okay, and now choose. ఇది జెడ్ సేల్స్ కదా సరే. ఇది స్మార్ట్ వర్చువల్గా రీడ్ చేయాలి కూడా కొద్దిగా టైం. EHP underscore remote sales is not valid. See, my table is Z sales, and this is all your source system name, right? So, it's stuck. Either not, don't specify the company. See, the table name is Z series and this is your source system name, EHP underscore report. Say finish. And then it's all same. I want this key, this is currency, this is. So like this, I can also have OpenODS view based on virtual table from the smart data access. If I'm reading from this, it actually uses a smart data access concept and reads it from where? From the ECS and gives it. So I can also create OpenODS using virtual table. Don't worry on this now. We'll come back to that later. Okay. Now, after looking at this, now can I say by using OpenODS view, can I consume HANA views in the backend of my HANA system? Let's say I've got BW on HANA database. In the underlying HANA database of BW, I've created my views, analytical view or calculation views. Can I consume them in BW by using OpenODS view? Yes. So I can create OpenODS view by using view and leverage the column view in SysBig schema. That is one option. And one more option is I can create ODP HANA information view connection, create a ODP data source on what? On the HANA information view of with myself connection and connect the data source which is remotely enabled to what? OpenODS view. Because I can create OpenODS view on data source. The two options can use. But రెండు options is not either prefer this suppose. Why should I create source system connection data source? Can I straight away use column view? If I'm connecting a view which is in the underlying HANA database, I use what? View. But if I'm trying to connect a view in BW, which is the underlying database of ECC or another source system, then I use what? ODP HANA information view concept. Got this point? Okay, good. And sir, anyhow, we touched this, and I also want to touch this. There's something called association of OpenODS view concept. There's something called association. Association in the sense. Let's say I have this. Okay, let's open it here. So I create OpenODS view based on HANA model bus, right? And can I do reporting on this? Yes. ZQ7 DS view. So can I use this and create my reporting on this OpenODS view? When I expand customer, I don't see any attributes at all. Sorry, not my customer, contract. When I expand the contract, I don't get to see any attributes of the contract because it is just referring to the view fields. But I know I have a master data in my BW which is giving details of my contract information, which is what I have informed called what S contract, which is actually holding the data. For contract, I get this data, and when I go to my view, you move much. Don't worry on this and look at this. Okay. For business contract number, I will have to get my BW master data also. I would like to do association. Remember in transit product we had a reference characteristic. Here also I can do something called association in OpenODS. Here when you go to OpenODS view for this, what is this here? For contract number field, okay, I have a field in the OpenODS view which I would like to associate with what? Master data and read my attributes also. Drop down, I'll say what? Associate this field of OpenODS view with what? With an info bit. Which info bit is it? You can browse info bit. What is it? Yes, yes, contact number. Yes. Once you select yes contact number, in this yes contact number, I've enabled all these navigation attributes. Remember, see this. So, is all this navigation attribute on, switched on, anni on. Should NAV, yes, right? Once I say reference is this info bit, you can say direct use of, what is this here? Direct use, you can click on this navigation attributes, and what all navigation attributes you want, you can enable this. And check it. Like this, I can associate my OpenODS view with an info bit in BW. Okay. లేదు వేరే ఎర్రర్ మంది కాదు, ఇక్కడ రెడ్ రాకూడదు అంటే ఫోకస్ ఆన్ దిస్. అది ముందు ఎప్పుడు ఎర్రర్లు వచ్చినా అట్లే వస్తానే ఉంటాయి, వచ్చినాయి అంటే. చూడొచ్చు ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేస్తే మనకు సంబంధించింది ఏమైనా ఉందా అంటే మన మోడల్ పేరు ఏం లేదు. నా క్రియేట్ ZQ7 DSV. Now can I start using that other fields of contract also as if it is a navigation attributes? See, contract referencing to all other, like this I can associate my field in my OpenODS view with the master data info bit. I start getting this the direct order number, the contract number, then I can get something like sales org, product, contract type something. The problem. Yeah, the problem here is 90001 because alpha confirming level. That's okay, that we can handle because zeros bit level. That's it. But it is linking it up. Another option is so I can have OpenODS view associate with what? BW master data info. Okay. One more option is one OpenODS view can be associated with another OpenODS view. One OpenODS view can be associated with another OpenODS view also. But linking low, OpenODS view of fact can be linked to OpenODS view of master data. Like you can create a schema like stuff. You'll have OpenODS view of fact connecting to master data OpenODS views. I can do that. So to get that, see, boss, I have this facts, right? Okay. In this, I say no, nothing, and this activate normal as it is. If you see here, I have an attribute view called ZAV contract, which is giving me what? Contract details. Yes. Okay. So what I'll do, let me create an OpenODS view based on that attribute view first. ZQ7 MD con demo MD contract. Now this time what is the date semantics? Master date, which again I'll say what? Sorry, underscore sys underscore big. Here I'll have to give my package name and ఇది ఇక్కడ పేరు ఏముంటుందన్న అది F4 లో రాదు. సో వాట్ ఐ వాంట్ యూ టు డూ ఇస్ ZAV underscore contract. ఇదైనా కాలం వ్యూ నేమ్, రైట్? Package name / that. Finish. Contract ID is my key and these are my other characteristics. It's all okay. The contract ID main, the actual contract ID is the point. Then alpha can activate. ఇప్పుడు ఏదో ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చింది. సో రిప్రజెంటేటివ్ కీ ఫీల్డ్. ఓకే, మై ఓపెన్ ODSU ఇది మార్కెట్ కీ ఫీల్డ్ కాబట్టి షుడ్ స్పెసిఫైడ్ రిప్రజెంటేటివ్ కీ ఫీల్డ్. So my open ODSU of market is ready. Now I would like to link my open ODSU market to my fact. Fact ఏంది మా HANA mod ఇది గుర్తుపెట్టుకో, మాస్టర్ టైం బిట్ నంబర్స్ Q7MD con. Okay, I'll go into this DS view. I would like to use this contract ID and map it to what? You want to associate this with what? Another open ODSU and browse. What was it? Name ZQ7MD. Idana MD con. And then get those fields of that attribute as attributes. And then now when you expand this, you start getting this linked up with this fields. Like this, I can have one open ODSU associate with another open, but two facts you can't associate. If you can associate two facts, it becomes multi-provider. So two facts you can't associate. If you want to combine two facts, it has to be composite provider or multi-provider, whatever it is, or info sets. But if you want to associate with one fact towards master like a join, and you can form it where the good star schema form channel, then that is with association you can do. Okay. ZQ7 DS. Now you start getting the fields of it. Sorry. Log out to login. You start getting this now, contract end date started, which are actually fields of another open ODSU. So this is the concept. This is the concept of open ODSU. The image maxing game, but virtual field-based modeling, association to another infobit and association to another open ODSU. Okay, and one more option, one more way of consuming HANA views. Okay, you remember your HANA view Q7_ZCV orders, right? So you can direct views కనిపిస్తుంది. I'll go to info areas. ఇవన్నీ నా ఇన్ఫోలు సరే. ఈవెంట్ ఉంది. What is this? Cubex pack Z7 Cubex, remember Z7 Cubex models. What is all this? ZAV sales. What is all this? Calculation views or analytical views. This mine is SP11. 7.4 SP11. Straight away you're able to create my reports on views. You remember Mandindi transport with the T. Isn't it transport TP views? Isn't it? Judo transport TP views / and what is all this? Is it nothing but your column views? Yes, sir. One day later, Q7 later. But see, I can use this view and do reporting directly. So I'm able to use this view directly for reporting. In 7.4 SP11, even if you go to from SP11, you can straight away do reporting on view directly in BigSquery. You don't need transit provider or nothing. Transit provider open ODSU straight away analytical view calculation view meeda do direct ga BigSquery report create cheyachu. This is only from SP11. Okay. నేను ఎక్కడ చదువులే, నేను కూడా చూస్తుంటే డైరెక్ట్ వ్యూ కనిపిస్తుంది. That happened with SP11. When I upgraded this with SP11, I could see. అది SP5 లో అట్లా లేదు. So can I say this is also one more option of consuming view directly with BigSquery directly?
That calculation view or column view of the calculation view?
ఏది వాడినా అది వాడినట్టే. But it's showing me column views. Okay. Okay, fine. Means you can do reporting on views directly through BEX also if from SP level. SP12 ఇంకా 7.5 కూడా వచ్చింది ఇంకా బీభత్సంగా ఉంటుంది మోస్ట్లీ. ఓకే, క్లియర్. సో దిస్ ఆల్ వేస్ యూ కెన్ కన్జ్యూమ్ ఇట్. ఇది పాయింట్. సో విల్ డిస్కస్ దిస్ టుమారో ఇన్ డీటెయిల్. సో ఐ కెన్ కన్జ్యూమ్ దట్ విత్ ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ ప్రొవైడర్ వర్చువల్ క్యూబ్ బేస్డ్ హనా మోడల్. కెన్ ఐ డూ దిస్? ఇంకోటి ఇది చెప్పు నాకు. డూ యూ నో దిస్? I give a data source which supports direct access. Do you know how do you connect to a cube with? Do you know how to create a virtual cube with virtual provider based on direct access DTP and connect it? My data source got 5 fields. You'll create info objects. You'll create remote cube. You'll have data source. You'll connect with transformation. Then create a DTP with direct access. Then you remember all the remote cube tells you then cube based on direct access DTP. If I have a data source which supports my direct access, I can connect that to remote cube also. So ODP remote cube based on what? ODP source system with HANA information view. You know this, where you have a data source referred from HANA information view, enabling direct access. Can be connected to remote cube also? Yes. Or I can connect that source system to what? OpenODS view, composite provider, and what? Composite provider is like multi-provider. Can I create multi-provider on a single cube? Yes. Now with HANA based composite providers, I can also combine one cube and one view. With HANA based composite providers, I can combine one cube and one view, two DSOs, two DSO and HANA view also. Ala concept, look, can I say like this? I'll create HANA based composite provider only with one view and do reporting on composite provider. Can you create composite provider or multi-provider single cube? Same way I can create HANA composite provider based on single view and then do reporting on it. Atla kuda cheyochu. Yes or no? So even through consuming, what is this? I'll create a composite provider on a single view and then do reporting. That is also possible. We'll see that. And then can I do direct reporting on the views? Or can I also go with remote master database? And tomorrow we'll discuss on comparing of all this. Annitlo ఏది వాడాలి? Actually, when initially it was with 7.3, then transition provider and virtual queues were majorly important. But in 7.4, when you start with OpenODS, no one is using transient. It will be all, your point of focus will be OpenODS, because with OpenODS view, you can use navigation attributes, you can refer to master data, you can refer to another OpenODS view, whatnot, data source, table, view, anything can be referred. Ultimately, మన point of focus will be OpenODS view, virtually referred with source type as what? View. And you can use column view. మన BW అయితే. వేరే source సంబంధించిన view కావాలంటే then I'll say what? OpenODS view based on BW data source, where the data source is based on ODP HANA information view, where it's connecting to that SAP application. అది ఆ పాయింట్ పడుతుంది. So tomorrow let's discuss on comparing all this. And what was the doubt? Always we need to select. No, I'm not worried on whether you go using generic data source or LO. Any data source which supports direct. Generally, your LO extractors does not support direct access. That's why I was using generic. You use anything. Sir, can't we use the data in HANA Studio in which... in that case of ECC HANA, we need to create RFC connection from both. No need of both. For ODP source systems, one side connection is fine. You just connect that to that systems. You don't need DTP. You're not loading. Okay. So we'll stop it here, and tomorrow we'll finalize on this. ODP connection is only one side RFC you'll have. Okay. Our point of focus will be tomorrow is about consuming BW models in HANA. So I have a cube in BW. How do I consume that in HANA? I have a DS. How do I consume? I have got master data. How do I consume? Reversible. So we'll discuss on the consolidation of all this, then consuming this. There was an interview on BW HANA. I said, how did you consume this? Then I said, we used OpenODS based on view. I simplified it. And info objects, if you look at this, info objects also వేరే మార్కెట్కి తగిలించుకోవచ్చు, వేరే ఓపెన్ ఎడిషన్కి తగిలించుకోవచ్చు, ఇన్ఫాబిక్స్ అవసరం లేదు, వర్చువల్ డైరెక్ట్ వ్యూ నాకు సింప్లిఫైడ్. ఓకే బాస్. Can you please explain why only one side RFC connection is required to ECC non-ECC in case of ODP? Because I already have an RFC connection towards from ECC to middle once for the normal standard connection. The same thing can be leveraged. Okay, logical system name is same, so the same connection will be leveraged for all. Standard, I have got standard RFC connection between BW and ECC. The same connection will be leveraged in every case. I don't have to recreate again and again. That's my point. Okay. If you see, I have a normal. When I created this, I have a RFC connections created on both. This is a normal SAP connection. So when I'm going to ODPs, I'm not recreating that connection because the RFC from ECC to BW is already there. It will be leveraging the same. Okay. Okay, we're done with this.